It always takes me a few seconds, folks, but here we are. I'm Bill DeYoung, and this is the Catalyst Sessions for Tuesday. My guest tonight is John Collins, the Executive Director of the St. Petersburg Arts Alliance. There's John there. Created in 2012, the St. Petersburg Arts Alliance is an umbrella organization, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to nothing more than raising money and advocating for our entire creative community. It's a cheerleader, a central office, a clearinghouse, and a barometer for all that's going on and going up in St. Petersburg arts. I want to get right to it. John, welcome. Happy Tuesday.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you.
I do want to get right to it. What's the most pressing question on your mind right now? Is it when will things approach normal again? Is it what's going to happen in the meantime? Or is it how will the creative community survive in the meantime?
Well, that may very well be it. I think it's a two-part question, if not three. But while we are sheltering and doing these phased-in openings, all of our arts groups, from galleries to museums to theaters, of course, are dealing with different timelines. And our artists as well, and our musicians, who took a huge hit on this, as did actors and dancers, are all trying to figure out how to survive, to key off of what you said. I think for a lot of us in the nonprofit world, our mission of service is increased exponentially. Emotionally for us, trying to raise money for the artists, but also how does the Arts Alliance reinvent itself to better serve what we need so that our studios, artists, galleries, museums can better be marketed. I think a lot of this was coming down the pike anyway with the more use of the internet to sell, for example, the use of Facebook and all of that internet access. But now the COVID has certainly catapulted us into the future where we have to do it now to survive.
Do you have an idea, is it even conceivable, because this changes day to day? Do you have any sort of idea what the arts community might look like once this is past us, after, obviously a period of regrouping? I mean, can you see that far? Or is it just an immediate need? Let's deal with what's in front of us now.
I think we're in a phase where people are still trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent. So it's a little hard to look ahead for them. For us to be able to be fortunate to have jobs and try to help them look ahead for them. We're also looking at, even if you were to open your museum or your theater tomorrow, when would audiences come back? When will people feel good about coming? We could say, okay, we're going to do Art Walk in June, but would anybody go? So we're really trying to do some research on what audiences need to feel comfortable coming back. And then how can we make them all feel safe? I think safety is the number one word with anyone you speak with, not just for their audiences, but for their staff.
Can we talk about the Pinellas Arts Community Relief Fund, which the Arts Alliance, we all know, put together with Creative Pinellas and with the Pinellas County Community Foundation? Can you talk about, maybe just for people who only are sort of aware of it, recap it for me. Talk about what it is and how it came about, and also how much you've distributed already. I mean, I really want to, let's talk about that.
We had the minute everything went south, we started looking for models, or I did anyway, and found one in the Seattle Arts Fund, for starters. There was one in Boston and so on, and thought, what can we do? And it's our mission. How can we help advocate for them, but also raise funds for them? So made a couple of phone calls. Creative Pinellas called me. The Pinellas Community Foundation came on board. Another foundation came on board in support. But and we really thought, okay, let's do this. And so knowing that we had the Pinellas Community Foundation as the repository for this, and knowing that Creative Pinellas has staff to help do this, which I did not have. So I think it was a great collaboration for us. It's been a very, very interesting road for us. It's very, very hard to give away money and decide who gets it and who doesn't. And it affected us all, I would say, emotionally somewhat. It's not that easy. So the easy part, in a way, because we were very, very fortunate. I shouldn't say easy, it's always hard. But the best part was being able to raise the money. Once we knew we had about $110,000, thanks to some foundation support and to corporate and private support, but mostly foundation support, that we could move ahead. So we came up with the application process, and then we got about, I'm going to average a bit, but we got about 250 applications. We decided, and I advocated strongly, for artist relief of all disciplines, music, actors, dancers, and artists. People just tend to think of the artists. Also our nonprofits and our creative businesses. After all, the galleries are what's selling the art for the artists. If they fail, everybody fails. So we need to figure out how all this interactiveness of our very, very fragile arts and cultural ecosystem was going to be able to be supported as best we could. So then we came up with the, long story short, we came up with the guidelines, people applied. We thought they'd take a couple of weeks. I think we went live on a Sunday, and by Monday, we already had 100. By Friday, we had 250 that morning. We just had to shut it down because we didn't want, that's all, we knew we couldn't handle that many. We had several meetings where we if you will, rated the various, all of the applications, and we had to choose between who received it and who didn't. This is right before Easter. It worked out that best for the three of our institutions, that the Arts Alliance write the checks to the artists and the creative businesses, and the nonprofit checks were written by the Pinellas Community Foundation. So again, to shorten the story on Easter, I wrote 148 checks, and we filled them, and my wife helped me. And it was an honor. It was emotional. I actually tried to say, if I was writing a check to Bill DeYoung, that I spelled your name really nicely, because for a person to get a check signed back to me is going to mean a lot more to them than it did for me to sign it. Yeah. And then one day I took a picture of myself for Tuesday, mailing them, because it was, now the good part was we were able to award $70,000, $80,000 out of that 110. I think it was 90. But the bad news is 100 people didn't get anything. So emotionally, it just increases their anxiety. I could only hope they found other places, but at least for the ones that we were able to help, we were able to give them a little bit of it. And we were the very first organizations to send out relief checks. Yes. We got it done, and I'm very proud of us. And you had 110,000 and you distributed, what did you say, 80, 90? About 90, yeah. So the logical question, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm just going to ask you, is what happened to the rest of it? Did it just stay the other people didn't meet the criteria? How did that work? Like any application process, and again, it's really, really hard to be in a jury for that, for any organization that has to make grants based on applications. Some were complete, some weren't, some were more compelling. And it's hard for me to even say that someone would be more compelling than someone else, but that's what we had to do. That's an awful position to have to be in, isn't it? To have to sort of make those decisions. Now the 20 that was left behind, we have since continued fundraising, and we have some more. I don't have that I haven't checked in actually. I think we all kind of needed a break this week from each other. You started phase 2 of the accepting more applications. They did a great virtual arts festival for the county, raised some more money there, but a few foundations come in as well. I should mention the Arts Alliance. We had some money in our savings. We chipped in, Ken to do it, Creative Pinellas chipped in to do it. We all gave of ourselves. And I know we also bought tickets, also personally contributed. What happens next? Right, you're in an application process. You're going to keep doing it. The applications are coming in. That will close next week, and then we will reconvene and go through them. People who applied before but didn't get it are certainly encouraged to apply again. It may not, the mark between someone getting it and not getting it can be like 1/10 of a point. You have 21 grants and somebody's 20. 21 could be just a hair away, but it was that hair away. So apply again. I really would urge anybody who applied to do that again. And people are donating to this fund. Yes, I mean there's more money coming in. Yes, they are. I think what's very nice is to see, and this came from an artist who said, "Well, we're doing okay." Actually, they said we're on Social Security, even though these days, but we want to give back to this fund to help the other artists. So artists have given. One or two of the galleries that we supported have contributed back. A couple of people have actually said, "Oh, you know what? Something happened to me, and I was able to get my check back." That was a heartbreaker to get back. It was very pleasing to get back.
Wow.
Or somebody returned their check. So to help someone else. So I think what we've done is hopefully, in an odd way, help build community by pulling everybody together this way. And that's our mission.
It kind of is, isn't it? You made me think of the website, which is sort of wall to wall with right now with opportunities for artists, and including all kind of funding opportunities, not just the ones that you do, but a call for artists and festival availabilities and virtual things. It's basically a big bulletin board, sort of a one-stop shopping, if you will, for artists looking for stuff. Something virtual. I mean, so it's absolutely essential, and that must feel pretty good that you know, if somebody needs something, and where do we go? We can go to the Arts Alliance and ask. I wanted to talk to you about the online workshop on May the 28th with these people called Impact. And the title, I have to read this because it's too long. So the title, it's 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time on May the 28th. How COVID-19 is impacting intentions to attend cultural institutions and what will make visitors feel comfortable visiting again. Tell us about this.
Well, I'm doing doing all the research we've been doing. A member of an artist and a member of another organization passed along this link, and being a little bit of a research geek to do the kinds of reports that we do, I looked into it and I was just so pleasantly stunned that the information is there that they have been looking at on a national scale, and they have grants to do this. And they're accessing, these three research people are accessing databases I didn't even know existed. But what they're coming up with, and they're doing surveys, virtual, on the phone, and so on, that help impact. First, they identify people who are likely people to go to arts and culture, who self-identify that way. Then they break that down over the last 10 weeks. Were you willing to go to the theater? Are you willing to go to a symphony? Where were you? And over the 10 weeks, the scale of how things have gone up or down, depending on the media, what you hear about the virus, do we think we're going to get better? The scale of horror, shock, and then moving into anxiety to now everybody's just tired. You know, I think that was part of it. So they have put all this together, and Colleen Dillenschneider is a remarkable presenter. So I was amazed at seeing it. I watched some of the videos, and I just did what I do. I just called them up and said, "Can you help me?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I'd really like you to present this information, because right now I got put on, fortunately, was selected to be on the mayor's restart committee. And so I created my own kitchen cabinet of about 15 people who were leaders in the museums and galleries, theaters, and so on. And I said, I really think these people would like to have this, because even if we open the doors," and what they came up with, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but to really overstate it, was say a third of the people will come in 3 months, a third will come in 6 months. Well, we need to know that to plan out how are we going to survive that long. And that's what they can break down much more and make it much more understandable than I'm inadequately doing now. So I want everybody to take this. And I mean, it's 40 minutes of a presentation that will be up to date. They have since contacted me. We're including Florida information. I've sent them St. Petersburg information. I think it's one of these classic things where you all, you know, people sit around and they go, "Oh, we're going to design a logo." And we all think it's absolutely fabulous. And we put it out there and the world goes, "Eh," because we didn't test it. So we all think everybody's going to come back to the theater or whatever. And so these people are testing it for us. I think the average person, they break it down to the average person is who attends the arts by gender, by finances. And then they actually ask them, when do you think you might be comfortable going back? Right. And what are the reasons, and where would you go? Many people are willing to go to public parks now. Maybe we can get back to putting American Stage in the park. It might be more convenient than somewhere else. Not to speak for them, I just made that up. So I hope people will sign up and take it, not just
well, I'm sure Stephanie thought about it.
So anyway, sign on, check it out.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Your bandwidth is low and it's giving me all kinds of weird signals. So sometimes you stop moving and I can't tell if you've stopped talking. To tell that this is May the 28th and you need to register, for this workshop, which is I'm going to sign up for it too. It's free, which is very cool. And May the 28th.
It's free. 10 a.m. And
now you're cutting out. We got a terrible
media
connection.
Releases are going out.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here in the old Northeast.
Let me ask you some biographies. Sorry? Let's see, you're cutting out. We should improvise and do a little like song and dance routine or something because you're cutting out big time. Say something. There he goes. See?
I'm here.
Here's a man with the arts
watching you.
I
look pretty good.
Okay. Let me. Yeah, that was very good. I'm not going to do it. I like that biographically. I think you told me you were from Boston originally. Yeah.
Yes.
Can't hear a thing.
Born out there, grew up in Connecticut.
This is fun, folks. It's internet magic.
Well, I can.
Uh-huh.
I wonder. Not sure why.
Boy.
At any rate, to answer your question, if people are listening and won't be too boring,
I'm
going to school in South Carolina, following. Nope.
Boy, you're cutting out
Do we need
big
to
time.
reconvene?
It's time for the song and dance again, folks. I don't know if we should we do that? Because every time I ask you a direct question, then I hear your answer. But then there's just,
well, you're very jittery.
John Collins. Yeah, I feel jittery. The longer that goes on, the more jittery I feel. What brought you to Florida? Let's do that. You came from South Carolina, I guess.
Actually, I now lived in a bunch of places, and there's a lot of years and a lot of stories there. But I had left Boston and working in theater and managing as a VP for universities. I got recruited to go to Phoenix, Arizona. While I was out in Phoenix as VP of Arizona State University West Campus, we hosted a delegation from USF St. Pete to come see how we did business. One thing led to another. I met Bill Heller, if you know Bill Heller. One thing led to another. I came here on my 50th birthday because I didn't want to spend that in the desert. I'm a Boston sailor. We came here, fell in love with St. Petersburg. And in January, long story short, I told my boss I was moving to St. Petersburg. And I ended up coming here to work for Bill Heller. So I spent a couple of years at USF St. Pete, and then I moved on to working for some other institutions. And it basically was recruited to come here, let's put it that way. So we fell in love. We did leave for a year and a half. I went to Boca Raton to be the president and CEO of the Arts Center there. Mary Ellen and I learned that Boca isn't for us. Let's put it this way. We missed St. Petersburg, and it was during the housing crash. So we still owned our place. Then we had been renting, and the renters moved out. So I was able to, as a fundraiser, I was able to put that ship back on track. And when I did that, I told them I fulfilled my commitment. I was moving back to St. Petersburg, where I just started volunteering in the arts as I was before. So I chaired the Arts Advisory Committee, where we came up with the idea to do these banners and hang them up around the city. Again, ended up moving.
The banners we're looking at here, yes.
And the mayor.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, there was a previous set before this that we did. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'd like to say we came up with the moniker to do that. And also, we started saying we were a city of the arts with permission from the mayor at the time. And one thing grew and led into another. And ultimately, I ended up advising Mayor Foster and City Council, and they ended up creating a position which I helped with as a consultant for a year. And together with the Arts Advisory Committee, City Council, and the Mayor's office, we came up with, okay, John, it's okay to create a separate 501c3 so that people will feel comfortable donating to the nonprofit so that we can do things to help support the city.
That was in 2012. John, what do you believe is cutting out again? I'm sure there was something very funny there, but I couldn't hear it. Yeah. Hey, What do you think? Tell me if you hear this one. What do you believe is the main function of the St. Petersburg Arts Alliance? The main function, and let's talk about how your main function has really changed since the arrival of COVID-19. Why does it exist? And yeah, let's go there.
The Arts Alliance exists to support, first of all, to support the arts groups in the city and the artists. We were founded because at the time, the Pinellas Cultural Council was abolished. And suddenly couple million dollars disappeared that our theaters, museums and others, classes and so on, it just disappeared. And there was nothing there except the city was still keeping its nonprofit arts grants going. So we created the Arts Alliance to support the city, to start doing all the political things that we needed, to advocate for funding, to start advocate for funding, to return to the to where we were. And ultimately, Pinellas County came up with Creative Pinellas, which didn't happen for a couple of years while we were growing together and creating ourselves. And then as they grew, we grew to, I can just get my arms around St. Pete, yet some of the things that the previous county cultural council did, we took on, and we still do. We support ACE, the Arts for Complete Education. You may not know, or some people may not know, that every 4 years in this county, we have to vote to fund arts education and IT in the public schools. If we don't have it, and indeed, teachers who teach in the arts, there's a line in their paycheck that it says it comes from this thing. So I'm not sure why it's every 4 years and why it can't be forever. But again, this year, 4 years has come together. So the Arts Alliance's ACE committee, Arts for Complete Education, which is some amazing volunteers, is part of the advocacy that we do to help get that passed come this November. So that's something we do that no one knows we do in terms of building up our education, arts education. Other things we do is on the other end of arts education is we have discovered so many of our artists or people who have moved here, who are retired, who want to be in arts business, kids who have just graduated, who want to create an arts business, have no idea how to do an arts business. So we've been teaching the Arts Business Academy off and on now for 5 years at the Greenhouse, and lately, last one was at St. Pete College, and now we'll probably be doing it online. So how do you, if you're an artist, how do you get an LLC, and what does that mean, and why do you have to do these things that you really don't want to do? We help them. So, and then finally, we partner with the city to do a little festival, which you may have heard of, called Shine.
Yeah, which, it's my next question. Don't get ahead of me.
Okay.
Let's talk about Shine. I mean, it really is, that's to use a terrible old metaphor. They always really the jewel in the crown around here. I wonder what the genesis of that was. I see a wall. I mean, were there murals before there was the festival? I mean, and how did you get involved, and how did you grow it? I've always kind of wondered what that sort of journey looked like.
The current mural gestalt, the current mural world that you see now is definitely built on the shoulders of those before us and before them. Back in the 70s, there were some people at City Hall who were kind of puttering around getting murals done. And then there was, of course, all of the murals being done individually, legally or illegally for several years. But what we discovered in the state of the city is murals actually discourage graffiti, because generally speaking, no one's going to tag another artist. Generally speaking, I hesitate to say that, keep my fingers crossed. But
yeah, there are exceptions.
What happened was for Shine, I got a call from the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. He said, would you come to a meeting? Even though I'm known as the Shine guy, this was not my idea. I went to the meeting thinking, oh boy, what am I getting myself into? There were some wonderful artists there, including Basque, Tess One, who made a presentation.
Yeah.
Our counselor, Darden Rice, was part of it when we pulled this together. And what we did was Tess One, I was going to say Leon, made a presentation, and they blew me away. I thought, okay, I can get behind this. So what I essentially became was the fiscal sponsor for Shine. Sure. The idea was to let the artists run, but frankly, somebody has to raise the money for them to do that. Somebody has to pay the insurance. Somebody has to pay deal with all the rigmarole so that our artists can shine. And that's what we did. And after the first year, Shine grew from, I think, a $30,000 $25,000 original grant to now an international Shine festival. Our budget last year is $107,000. it's a huge, huge task. And now I have a wonderful person, Janae, who is managing Shine for us and working on, we talked today, just trying to get walls for this October. So it came and it's grown and it's changed. We've been able to bring international artists who are willing to come for a song because we pay their airfare. We put them up at the Courtyard by Marriott. They get to be with each other. We have an amazing crew of volunteers. I couldn't do any of this without volunteers. They bring them lunch, they pick them up, they take them back. They know if they're coming here from Australia or Singapore or Ukraine or wherever, that they are going to be taken care of. They want for nothing basically while they're here. And they do some work.
You're also getting an international reputation though. Oh yeah, I'll go to that one. I've heard of that one in St. Petersburg, Florida.
I think we've got to the point where it is a tourist attraction for sure. People are doing better at marketing it as well. And its reputation among the artists around the world is fabulous, which is why they're willing to come. Artists are recognized. Now, this coming year for Shine, we hope to focus Shine because of COVID and because of everything that we really need to focus on locally. It will be mostly local artists, maybe some from elsewhere in Florida, but it will be overall, I would say, local Shine, featuring artists. And we were thinking of having more of an activist focus to it, where Shine will focus on resiliency, ocean warming, climate changing. All of those things are on our minds, that you can tell the story better visually through a mural.
That's a great idea. So all systems at this point are go, like October should be able to have people, because that's kind of a solitary activity.
We just moved the date to November because the race is on the weekend that we had Shine. So we're going to go up the following week for Shine. You've
told me several times, the stories that we've done at the Catalyst, that the art walk, the second Saturday art walk, is a big money maker for not only for the Arts Alliance, but obviously for the city and for the artists involved in the organizations. How devastating! You've done what, 2 virtual ones or 3 now? How devastating is that?
Well, we're learning. It is devastating. The first thing we learned, and as you know, we've done a couple of economic studies of how the arts are economic driver. So what happens if you don't have that economic driver? What else is affected? So very simply, you can do this on the back of a napkin, but you just multiply out the number of studios and galleries and artists who are open during Art Walk, and then the amount of money that they generally make each month, and you get them to report that to us, which they did very, very easily. We figured out that night cost them $48,000. Now, more importantly than that, or as important as that, is everybody who goes to Art Walk either takes the trolleys, or they go to dinner, or they go to the breweries, or they go out for drinks, and they spend an additional $21, say. So that's another $48,000 that everybody around the Shine galleries lost. So basically $100,000 just disappeared from our economy that we would have spent going out, whether we bought something or not. More important than that is when we took all the artist applications, a number of the studio people wrote, because Art Walk didn't happen, I didn't sell, and I'm not sure I can pay the rent this month. I had no idea we were that important. I knew we were important, but that was very, and I got more than one of those. We read more than one of those applications. Yeah. So the second week we tried to make Art Walk more interactive as best we could, as we all learned how to use Zoom. And we're just learning like crazy, our learning curve. It's not like there's somebody in town you can just hire to say, oh, hey, do this for me. Oh, look what happens. Say, do this for you. This reverse is weird. This coming,
you look fine.
What we're trying to do now is learn fast. We're talking to software developers. How can we create a virtual gallery? Like if you were to go to Art Basel and you would go in an exhibition and you see this gallery and that gallery and that gallery. How can you go to the Arts Alliance website, see articles, you'll see Craftsman House, you'll see Duncan's, you'll see Warehouse Arts District studios and galleries. How can we make that happen? And I just read something before you came on that I understood 10% of it, and we're trying to figure out. And then frankly, make no mistake, my job every morning is to get up and think, who am I going to ask for money? Because we don't sell t-shirts. We have no income. We have no income stream. Everything has to be asked for. So how can I pull this together, make it into a nice package so that I can then pitch it to a foundation or a sponsorship with a corporation? Because what we're doing in addition to helping the artists survive is improving the accessibility of everything that we did. There are artists in South St. Pete who are not on Art Walk because they're just too far away. There's artists like Chad Mize who's not on Art Walk because he's too far away on 9th. So a virtual art walk, I can be so inclusive and showcase so much more art. Now that I've said that, I have no idea how the heck we're going to do it, but we're working on it.
Well, isn't it, you know, there's somebody inevitably during any kind of conversation, somebody will say to me, whatever the new reality is going to be some sort of combination of what we knew before and this new reality, that you learn so much about doing things virtually that may, you know, and this is going to have to be my last question because we're pretty much out of time, but you know, is that what you can see, that it would be great to have a virtual art walk and a real art walk in a perfect world? Different lines of interest, different streams of money coming in, perhaps different ways of looking at art. You have to think outside the box now, is my point. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We're as the Arts Alliance, I am blessed with 3 part-time staff, and we work very closely together, very good. And we're able to like key off of each other, like improvisation. What if we do this? What if we do that? Da, da, da. And it has helped us produce the things that you've seen us do, and then helped us interest people in funding them. So we're looking at Art Walk really moving into a combination of what you just said. I mean, it may very well be that there's going to be the regular Art Walk, hopefully, when a vaccine comes on and everybody feels comfortable going out, or whatever, for whatever reasons we're comfortable doing that. Right now, we're not going to put people on trolleys. That's just impossible. But we can do a 3-pronged version of Art Walk. We can have traditional art walks. So if the galleries want to be open, we'll help them publicize that they're open, and they and we will, you know, say you better wear face mask, and everybody will be open as safely as they possibly can. Like any retail business, by the way, art galleries are a retail business like anybody else. The nonprofit retail businesses are selling art like anybody else. They're all the same. It's just a different business model. So we want to support all of them to get people out to enjoy themselves safely. But I don't think that many will be open in June. We have polled them this week, and we're waiting to see who says yes and no, whether they're going to be open. Yeah. For somebody like Duncan McCullen to gear up and build everything up and bring in 9 people and so on, and only have maybe 20 people may not be economically feasible. So what we need to do is work with them and figure out how to make that work, or put them online, and not just keep it up on Saturday night. Maybe we can keep that gallery up all month and turn into a virtual month-long art walk, if you will.
Well, it really is an ongoing day by day, you know, as everyone will inevitably also say, nobody has a freaking clue what's going to happen next week. You know, all you can do is keep planning and replanning and keep thinking with your team, working on ideas for the reality that's presented to you.
The irony, the tragic irony is it's in our DNA to want to be together in sorrow and grief and problems, and we can't. And that is what arts do for us. We can all sit in a theater, whether it's a blues solo, and we all hold our breath at the same time, you know, or you watch somebody on stage and you all gasp at the same time. Everybody's hearts even beat in rhythm together at some of these things. So I'm not just making that up. That's
good. That's good.
Yeah. Or you want to go out and you want to buy a piece of art because it makes you feel good. Or, you know, you want to just hear a musician on the street because it makes you feel good. 100 years ago, I was a street performer. I know what it's like to make my living on the street collecting quarters. So how do we elevate that into an art walk or into a theatrical experience that brings people together? But with some of the first things that, you know, one of the first things that people say that humans invented was dance to tell a story. And then drumming for music to tell that. Though, as I mentioned, I think we all want to go out and do things together and experience the joy or the passion that arts and culture can bring us. Right now, we can't do it, but hopefully it will come back. It may have to come back where we sit 6 feet apart for a while. But I would urge anybody who is listening to give us a chance and then take a chance. I cannot tell you from talking to the heads of all the museums and the theaters how important safety is to them right now.
Yeah, you know what? If that's what it takes, I can't wait. I'll sit 6 feet apart. I'll sit 16 feet apart. We are totally out of time. I want to thank you so very much, John. It's been very, very enlightening. Many, many thanks. Tomorrow, Alsace Wallentin will be here from Tombelow Books. I think she's gonna be in the store talking to us, which will be kind of fun. Maybe she can read to us. So I ask her really nice. John Collins, Executive Director of the St. Petersburg Arts Alliance. Thank you again. And please, everyone, go to the Arts Alliance site, find out all about the Emergency Arts Fund, the Relief Fund, which is just a wonderful thing, and all the other wonderful things they have there going on, including the virtual art walk. Shine in November, back to normal one of these days.
Thanks for covering the arts.
Good to talk to you, my friend. See you soon.